In recent days, there have been countless attacks by Israel on Lebanon, and now China has spoken out decisively. China officially and strongly backs Lebanon and condemns Israel's unjustified and indiscriminate attacks on civilians. Nevertheless, Israel continues to carry out relentless airstrikes, reducing all of Beirut to rubble and ashes. And last night, the leader of Hezbollah was killed, and now it is completely escalating. Germany and the USA have already initiated a large-scale evacuation of personnel in the Middle East. Both Putin and Iran have announced strong countermeasures. Will China, Russia, and Iran respond now? Let's take a look at the dramatic details. Here we go. While in Germany the CDU has taken power in Thuringia and the population watches idly, the situation in the Middle East is indeed completely escalating. Take a look at this homepage from the Bild newspaper just a few minutes ago right now. There is not just one headline about the conflict in the Middle East, but directly 10 headlines. There is no other topic anymore. The whole page is filled with it. And this impressively shows how badly the situation in the Middle East is currently developing. I mean, Israel has been continuously bombing the capital of Lima Bimalon in recent days, indeed laying all of Beirut to ruins. Many hundreds of innocent civilians have lost their lives, just as in the Gaza Strip and beyond. But Israel and its Western allies apparently do not really seem to care at all. These are all indeed collateral damage in the effort to destroy Hezbollah. And apparently, the success of the Israeli military leadership is justified, as last night the Hezbollah leader Nasrallah was eliminated. Apollo News officially confirmed that Hezbollah leader Nasrallah was recently killed in the airstrike. The Israeli army confirmed on Saturday morning that the leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, was killed in an Israeli airstrike on the headquarters of Hezbollah. Initially, the Iranian agency Tasnim reported that Nasrallah had survived the attack. Now, it has retracted that report. According to a report by the New York Times, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, has convened an urgent meeting of the Supreme National Security Council. A clear sign that Nasrallah, certainly a key ally of Iran, may be dead. Well, and what that means, as you all surely know, you can all surely imagine, of course you know, now the highly religious Hezbollah will indeed set heaven and hell in motion and absolutely organize a huge fireworks display. I now assume that we will definitely and undoubtedly see the largest counterstrike against Israel that has ever come from Lebanon. And Germany is already responding with an evacuation, but not only from Lebanon, but from the entire Middle East region. They are currently taking action. Bild reported that Germany is recalling personnel from the Middle East. The crisis management team of the federal government has decided to further raise the crisis levels for the diplomatic missions in Beirut, Ramallah, and Tel Aviv in light of the escalation in the Middle East. The Foreign Office announced this in the afternoon. This specifically means that family members of the deployed staff should leave the area of duty and travel to safe locations in the region or to Germany. In addition, the deployed personnel will be reduced. Care will be taken to ensure that the extensive operational capability of the 3 foreign missions continues to be guaranteed. But not only these 3 countries are affected. Iran has also made preparations and also secured the Iranian government. The Kronen Zeitung wrote about the escalating conflict in Iran, stating that Ali Khamenei has been brought to a safe place. Well, and now, my dear viewers, one simply needs to put 2 and 2 together. The federal government is currently evacuating its personnel from both Lebanon and Israel, as well as the West Bank and Gaza. And Iran is also evacuating its government in the region. In other words, this can only mean that all these politicians are now anticipating strong attacks on exactly these regions in the near future. And that means nothing good. Attacks on Israel, on Lebanon, Iran, and so on and so forth. And these are absolutely exactly the very right ingredients that a wildfire in the Middle East indeed needs. And that is exactly why the major world powers are positioning themselves now and choosing their side. And I mean, of course, the Americans have naturally, and undoubtedly pledged their support to Israel. The Bild reported that the USA assures support for Israel. According to American Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he spoke twice on Friday with his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant regarding the events in Lebanon. But the other side, Lebanon and Iran, are also receiving support, specifically from China. Der Spiegel wrote that China stands behind Lebanon in the Middle East conflict following Israeli attacks, as Beijing has long portrayed itself as a neutral peace power representing the global South. After the Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon, the Chinese are expressing solidarity with their Arab brothers. China has assured Lebanon of its support in the Middle East conflict and has sharply criticized Israel for its attacks on the Hezbollah militia. The People's Republic supported Lebanon in protecting its sovereignty, security, and national dignity, said Foreign Minister Wang Yi said by his ministry in New York. Wang met there with his Lebanese counterpart Abdullah Abu Habib. No matter how the situation develops, China will stand on the side of justice and the Arab brothers, including Lebanon, Wang said. Well, and of course, the Russian President Putin has indeed strongly condemned Israel's attacks and stated that Russia will support the sovereignty and security of Lebanon. Well, and we don't even need to talk about Iran, since Hezbollah in Lebanon is under the government of Iran. And even our Foreign Minister Baerbock has indeed found very, very clear and extremely precise words. Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has described the situation in the Middle East following the death of Hezbollah leader Nasrallah as extremely dangerous and criticized Israel's strike. The destabilization of the entire Lebanon is threatening, and this is in no way in the interest of Israel's security, said the Green politician in the ARD program Bericht aus Berlin. Well, one could certainly ask, why all the fuss? Nothing is going to happen anyway. Iran just keeps talking. Iran didn't even react when it was directly attacked by Israel a few weeks ago. Well, it was clearly a strategic and tactical decision by Iran. This is because Iran was not yet prepared for this war at that time. Iran has not retaliated yet because it first needed to be heavily armed by the Russian military in order to be adequately and sufficiently prepared, both in air defense, in electronic warfare equipment, and also in long-range missiles. In recent weeks, Putin has transferred a large amount of military equipment to Iran to make the country combat-ready and, above all, to strengthen its air defense against the strong air force from Israel. And if this military equipment is currently finalized by Iran now, then Iran and Lebanon will retaliate very strongly and significantly. And as previously mentioned, they have both Russia and China on their side. And when this fireworks display starts in the Middle East, then absolutely, God help us all.